again. We are on video 5 for this week, for week 3. Finishing up chapter 6, chart 1. So you can find it under chapter 6 section of my iLearn site. Okay, Barton Allied Health for Adult Ed. So we've gone through most of this chart already. We left off at ASHD. So this is arteriosclerotic heart disease. And we already know arteriosclerotic from the ASCVD, which is a hardening of the arteries. Okay. The difference here is it's just heart disease. So this is a hardening of the walls of the arteries in the heart, not necessarily throughout the whole body. Okay, so that's kind of the big difference between the two. AU, this is both ears. So if you remember, I had previously, we had AS, which is the left ear, and I just found out, what did I do with it? I just found out that the S there, that means left, means sinister. Apparently in Latin, S meant sinister, which is kind of more of your left, right? So if you've ever seen the shows where it puts like the angel on one shoulder and then the devil on the other shoulder, they always put the devil on the left shoulder and they always put the angel on the right shoulder. So the left is said to be more sinister, right? They're not the right-hand man. Okay, so I just found that out. So that was pretty cool. But so S means left, D means right. Remember with the Mickey ears, right? And on your right side, if you look at it, it looks like the side of the D. All right. So with both ears, think of this like a stethoscope. So I brought a little stethoscope for you. Okay. Now think of it like a stethoscope. A stethoscope makes like a U, right? Makes like a U, and it goes in both ears. It says AU. Average. Now note, this is not AVG. This is AV, which is a little different. I always wound up abbreviating average as AVG, and in medicine we call it AV. Capital AV, so this is arteriovenous or atrioventricular. Okay, so let's break apart this first word here. So venous, this means pertaining to the veins, and then arterio is the root word for artery. So arteriovenous is just pertaining to arteries and veins. Then we have atrioventricular. Atrioventricular. So this is pertaining to the ventricles and the atria. Now, I have this little heart diagram here, and if you look at it, okay, the atria are the small chambers of the heart, and the ventricles are the larger chambers of the heart. Notice the ventricles also have thicker walls because they have to pump all the blood out. Okay, so atrioventricular means pertaining to the atria and the ventricles. So we have what's called an AV node, an atrioventricular node, and it sits right here in between the right atrium and the right ventricle, right there in the middle. And it's kind of a stomping ground for the electrical conductive system of the heart. This is actually a good picture of it. So you have the right atrium, the left atrium, the right ventricle, the left ventricle, and these are valves in between the chambers. So everything in yellow here is the electrical conduction system of the heart. So you have the SA node, okay, the sinoatrial node, and then that sends through fibers to the atrioventricular node, the AV node, and that goes down to the bundle of His, down to the bundle branches. There's left and right bundle branches, and those break out into these smaller branches called Purkinje fibers. So the heart has its own electrical system to it. The brain doesn't really tell it how to beat. So the heart kind of keeps track of it itself with its own intrinsic electrical system. So, put this right back up there. Also, I should add, if you don't know already, this is pertaining to arteries and veins. Arteries take blood away from your heart. Veins bring blood to the heart. So arterial blood is very bright because it's fresh with oxygen. When it's in veins, it's because it's already gone to the body and nourished the body and got absorbed into the veins through the capillaries to go back up into the vena cava of the heart. All right. A&W, this isn't root beer. This isn't where you get your foot-long hot dog or you go to the drive-in. Okay, A&W means alive and well. Okay, so frequently people will call 911 because they can't get a hold of their parents or their grandparents, and they live alone in an area where they can't get to. And they'll call 911 because they want somebody to go and make sure their family member is okay. So they call 911, we go to the house, and we find a way to enter the house, and hopefully we find that family member alive and well. And hopefully they're just ignoring their child or their grandchild. Hopefully that's just the case. Sometimes it's not. But I can annotate in my report that I do, I can say we found the individual in their house, A and W, alive and well. AX, so this pertains to the axillary region or the armpit, okay, the axilla, and that's just this area right here, okay. If I were to do a 12-lead EKG, all right, I would have to put a couple of electrodes along the axilla, which is under the armpit there. So, not all of these abbreviations are you going to find in everyday medical jargon or charting, and it just depends on what kind of medical profession you work in. So it could be some of these you'll use and some of these you won't, depending on the profession you're in. But they're good to know. It's a good way to start to learn your medical terminology, okay? And a good way to know all your abbreviations. So hopefully this was digestible and you learned enough. So this is chart 1, and we'll kind of try to tackle 1 chart a week and get our way through the 11 charts. If you have questions, please let me know. My email is Barton, BARTONJ, @dearbornschools.org. So the last couple of videos that we have this week, I'm going to be diving into CPR and first aid. And that should allow us to begin working on the mannequins on Tuesday is what I'm really hoping for. So please make sure that you watch all the videos so that we can all be on the same track to be able to do CPR. Thank you.